Hey, it's Joni from Fox and Socks Nursery. I'm going to be putting creases on Elijah. I've got my red from the wash, and I'm going to use that to make the mix, for the paint mix for it. So I've got the red left over from the wash we just did. Bristles. I'm sorry, there's always bristles in my silly brushes. Bristles fall off. Okay. And I'm going to add, hang on just a second, I got my arsenal here. I got so much on my table. It's crazy. Okay, I'm looking for dark red. Hang on. What age? Dark red. Okay. So I've got dark red, and I need regular red, and I'm also going to add, what's the other thing I add? Magenta. Yeah, magenta. Magenta. I love that color. It's so pretty. Okay. And for this magenta, I'm going to add, not that one, where's the other one? O2. So it's like the darker color. Urgh. Now the red that was in there are just traces. There's not like a whole bunch of red in there. Just whatever was left. Isn't it a pretty color? So pretty. These are going to be a little darker because the mommy wants him to be kind of a peachy color. So I need to make sure that creases are darker than I normally do. I normally do like a lighter skin tone, and then the creases are pinker, and this one I need to be more red. So I'm going to put that away. I have to add more red to it. I'm going to get some more red in there. Right now it's kind of a cardinal red color. Now this color will brighten it a little bit since the dark red is a deeper color, and the magenta, this particular magenta is a deeper color, but red is a brighter color, so it will brighten it up. One of the things that you'll learn as you're mixing your paints is what colors will cool it down, what colors will warm it up, and the difference between bright and dull. So I would also suggest doing some research on Google to find out what colors together make what colors. That really helped me. Like, I looked up how to make peach, and it said kind of like red and yellow together be orange, and then you add white to lighten it, or cream to lighten it. So, and this is thick. I always put some thick in my creases so that it's a nice smooth. Okay, and I don't know how much that is, guys. I'm gonna call it a glob. There's really not a whole lot on there. So you're gonna put a glob in there. And if you're doing air dry, I really do not know what you can add to thicken it. I would have to ask somebody, and I'll do that tonight. And then I'll put it in the description for you guys, because I really don't know if there is anything that will thicken it like this. Now I know golden does thick. I think golden does. Yeah, I'm not sure. But this stuff works wonders. It will really make a difference in your paint if you're doing it. Sorry, my voice seems gravelly. So if you're doing Genesis or other heat set paints, this stuff is awesome. See, I didn't put a whole lot in there. As you're stirring it up, I thought TV's too loud. Hang on a second, let me turn it down. sorry. My husband likes to watch that TV show on Disney. Isn't that funny? He likes cartoons. Anyway, it's always going and it's so loud sometimes. Okay, so you can see it's still pretty runny, but it's kind of nice. It's like a nectar consistency, and that's what you want. I'm not going to add any more to it. You get it too thick, then it starts leaving like a white residue. So gross. I realized that. With the last, I use this for blush too. With the last time that I did blushing, I was like, why is this leaving a white residue? And then I realized it's the thick. So we definitely don't want that. So anyway, that's how you mix it up. You're going to take your magenta 02, your red, and your dark red. Okay, and I'll put that in the descriptions for you guys. So there we go. Okay, so I want my brush that I'm using, Creases. I also use this for hair. I'm just going to make sure it's coloring. So I don't always clean my brushes. You can see it's got that red hair residue. I did carrot red hair on Maeve. You can see it's still got that residue. Okay, so it's ready, and then we're going to get a little brush, e.l.f. brush. Let's see. Yeah, this is the e.l.f. brand. It's the small smudge brush, and the reason I like it is because it's really small. But pretty much any makeup brush, the newer ones like this, if you can get them small, that'll work. Anyway, you definitely need that. You need a makeup wedge to, yeah, that's my leftover from the wash. You'll need a makeup wedge to wipe away excess. And I'm going to go ahead and use this. This is a dry brush just in case I need it. And then, so you've got your detail brush, your smudge brush, a dry brush, and a sponge. And we're going to go ahead and get started. Okay, so here's Mr. Elijah. He's so cute. I'm going to start with his head. Okay. And I'm going to do the inside part of his eye. Right up underneath there, there's like a little ridge. And you're going to want to paint right in there. And what this does is give the eye depth, and you'll do this for your biracial babies too. Oops, see what I did? Oops. So you're gonna get right up in there, and it should be like right on the edge where it goes behind the eye. And then I just take a makeup wedge, pounce in there, and you're going to do that every time you do creases. Now if it's got an upper eyelid, you're not going to put as much paint in there, but you do want to go a couple of times. You just don't want to put a whole lot of paint in there because it'll make the baby look red-eyed, like he's been crying. Well, I guess if you want your baby to look like it's crying. Okay, I'm going to put some on this little area here. Excess. Now I don't put a whole lot in that crease under the eye. Again, I don't want the baby to look like it's crying. Okay. It's already starting to look better. Okay, and there's another crease in there, and I'm not going to do that one. Let me pull this camera down just a little bit for you guys. But you can see there's like an upper crease, and then there's one like right there, and then there's the bottom one. I'm not going to put one in the middle But when you do the inside of the eye, you're going to go like right in there. Oof, okay, so maybe this will help. So you're going to go right on the edge there. I always do that a couple of times. I don't want. Okay, and then on the top, you're going to go the same around it too. Just don't want a whole lot around the eyes. And the same on this one. You guys see what I'm doing? It's kind of hard for me to hold it and make sure it's in the camera at the same time. Okay. I don't know if you can see that it is kind of red. Let's see if I can turn this big light off. I'll put some in the corners too. Wipe all the excess out. And then in order to keep the creases clean, when you wipe it out, it's going to pull it towards the vinyl around it. And you don't want the little lines coming out past the crease, so you're going to wipe those off. And the reason we don't put very much paint on these babies whenever we do the creases, it will chalk up, which the paint pigment will settle in some spots, and that's what makes it look chalky. So you need to make sure you get it blended well and keep in the crease and try not to go outside it. I'm going to go inside the nose. Boop. This is where I use my dry brush because I don't want to wreck the bristles on the smudge brush. I'm going to do his little lips. Yeah, I'm going to turn this big light on because I'm having trouble seeing. Where the edge of the lip is. Gonna go. And I'm going to just do the best I can to try to eyeball where the lip is, the edge of the lip. He's so cute. He's got little gums up inside his mouth. I didn't even realize it. So we're going to do his whole mouth. So just fill it in. I know you can't really see the coloring with this bright light on, but I can't see without it. Okay. I'm gonna put a little bit on the outside. Now, if I go past where I want to go, I just use that smudge brush and wipe away what I don't want. And just like the nose, I want to pat that inside. I don't want it pooling, because if you don't like blend it in, like I was telling you, the pigments will stick and it will look really chalky and gross. Okay. I know you guys can't see. Oh, you can't see a little bit. You can see a little bit. Okay. Now I'm going to do his little chin. I didn't realize I got excess paint there. Okay. Oh, I don't want excess paint everywhere. He doesn't have much of a chin, so. You want to use a small detail brush, because you want to try to keep that paint within the crease. See, that's outside. Get off the excess. Okay. Make sure it's nice and blended in there. As I was saying earlier, I don't know, maybe I did, one of these videos I started and then the camera failed and I ended up having to do a different one. But one of the things you need to know about creases is it's a building thing. So you don't just do it once, you're going to do it throughout painting the baby. Okay. The more paint you add, the less it'll show. Creasing the paint, the more paint you add to the baby, the less the creases will show up. You may not be able to see, but I can see it pretty good. Okay, gonna do the ear. Okay. Now for the next set of creases, I will probably add more dark red and darken this color up a little bit more, because it seems like it's pink. I want to make sure it's more red. Whoops. Okay, you're gonna make sure it's all shaded in there. Sorry. Brush handle keeps bumping the camera. Okay. And then your dry brush. And I just like fan it out so that the little edges of the inside get colored. And wipe off excess. Under the ear, top of the ear. Try not to press too hard on your brush so that the bristles stay nice. When you're putting it in there, it doesn't have to look perfect. Just try to get as much inside as you can. And then you can always use your dry brush, fan it out. But you want the inside of the ear completely painted. so that even the little thing, the little edge on the little wall in the middle of the ear, you want to make sure that this part is also painted. And then wipe off the excess. And I'm going to double check this one, and you want to make sure that one's the same way. Little. Okay. Okay. The thing about baking this paint, it will bake lighter than what you've put on, which is kind of frustrating. And then one of the things you need to check for is that this is indeed blended, and they're about the same. Let's see, this, I won't say shade, but like one side could be darker and one side could be lighter, so you want to make sure that they're the same. And that's all you're going to do for the head so far. I mean, you could technically do those little creases right there and his little frinkly, but I'm going to leave them because I don't want those to look too red. Moving along to his little finger. He's so cute. I'm going to do that crease right there. Okay, and when you do creases on the hand and the feet, you do not have to do every single crease. That looks weird. It's too much, because when you blush, it's going to show some of those creases anyway. So if you end up creasing them on top of that blush, it's too much. So you definitely want to do the ones. Oh, serious. I'm determined to get stray paint everywhere. Okay. Oof. Can you guys see what I'm doing? I got some stray paint. Another good thing about building up paint over time is so that you don't get it so dark. You want them to look subtle. I got paint on me. Where's this paint coming from? Okay. Okay, now I'm going to do this little pinky. I fix this. You guys can't see on camera, can you? Open. I'm going to put some right here because that's an awful deep crease. And I think it needs it, so I'm going to put some right there. This baby is so cute. I have to get myself one. Oh, and a trick would be if the creases are really, really close together, do one at a time so that you don't end up with paint between them. I don't know if that makes sense. Like you want to keep the paint inside the crease. Man, I got paint from the last baby's hair. But do you see that right there? Do you see how it's smudged? If you do just one crease at a time, it'll keep it from smudging like that. From smudging between the creases, if that makes sense. This guy's got a lot of little deep creases, doesn't he? Okay, now we're going to do, I'm going to put one across his hand, and I'm going to do those little divots in his fingers. Okay. And I'm wiping away because that paint is still down inside that divot. Okay, this is a perfect time to do the little knuckles. So we will. And if you have trouble figuring out where the knuckle is, it's usually like there's the line, and it's usually right above the line. You see how that one, it's so weird. Okay, this is where the knuckle is. Okay. And then you're going to do right above the nail. There's another knuckle. And don't forget the thumb. Okay, now we're going to do the inside of the elbow. I'm getting stray paint everywhere. Double check your limbs, make sure they don't have any stray paint. As you can see, I've got the red hair from Maeve still. And for some reason, I was bumping the palette with the limb. Everywhere, apparently. Okay, and that paint looks like I'm ready to stir again, so I'll just give it a good stir. Okay, let's put some more on that one. Try to keep the paint in the crease and not everywhere else. And we'll bake this, and then we'll come back and hit them again and then bake them. So you're going to do 2 layers and bake between each layer. Okay, I'm going to do a foot. This video is already running into 30 minutes, so I'm going to do this foot just to show you the creases that I'm choosing, and then the rest of it I will do off camera. You can see those look, those look pretty deep. Those are the only ones I'm going to do. I'm not going to do these. Those will show with the paint on top. I don't have to hit them. I'm going to do between the toes. And I'm going to try that again. I'm going to do between the toes. And this is a good time to familiarize with how to clean creases. So we're going to go underneath the toes. Okay, so when you do this, very little bit. Okay. I just pulled that extra out and just pulled it right across that bottom crease. It's all right. Okay, so when you do between the toes, try to stick right in that crease and not get it up over the toes. I'm doing this one on purpose to show you. Do you see how that went up over the toe instead of staying in the crease? You're going to be very mindful and clean that up. And then when you do your creases, make sure your brush is tiny so it'll stay right in that crease and not go up over the toe. And you're going to wipe away just till you get to that crease so that it stays in that crease. Somebody asked me how I got my creases so crisp. That's how. So, like, I'm going to do it again so you guys can see. So say I'm painting and I get up over the toe. Obviously that's really hyperbole, but we're going to wipe it off. And then stick right in on the crease. So you're going to do those first, and then you want to do these too, because they're pretty deep looking. But you see how I went over? Okay. But notice I didn't put paint down on everything right away. I'm doing it in sections so I can keep those creases clean. Some there. It's a pretty deep crease. Sorry, my dog's right here at my foot and I stepped on her. Sorry. Sorry, puppy. Okay. Trying to keep the paint just in the... What am I doing? Trying to keep the paint just in the crease. Okay, I'm not going to do the knuckles on the toes because when I blush the entire toe. I don't do just the knuckles. Like, I'll blush like the main little toe pads, but then I blush up over and up into this right here. Some don't, so it's up to you. If you like the crease knuckle and the only blushed part would be the little toes pads, that's okay. Okay. Okay, sometimes there's creases behind the heel, above the heel too. And you just have to kind of gauge if you want those to show. Like, there's one of them that's pretty, or two of them that are pretty deep looking, so I'm going to hit those. I don't know why I keep grabbing it at the wrong end. That's okay. Now we're going to go behind the knee. Okay. Got a little crazy, so I'm going to wipe that off. And you just keep going until there's nothing else that pulls out. Okay, I'm going to bake these when I get them finished, and then I'm going to do another layer off camera. So you're going to do creases times 2, and you're going to bake between layers. Okay, bye guys.